Let's take a look around Torch. Here you can see information that you've got to know. You can expand each of these sections, and Torch is smart enough to remember these settings. You can hide and show pinned items and quickly change or add projects. Messages are the main communication element and container in Torch. Any message can contain files, events, tasks, and comments. Messages can be created over email, from a webhook, API command, and of course, manually. Let's create a message. By pinning a message for someone else, you're essentially notifying them. How they're notified can vary. Any user can choose to be notified by RSS, by an email alert, gadget, or just using the dashboard. You can add events and tasks at any time. You can go in and edit the message and add events that way, or you can use these convenience functions like this. Once you have an event or a task, you can drag it around, pin it, or complete it. And Torch is smart enough to detect whether or not you have a specific date and time, so you can convert from an event to a task or vice versa just by changing the event title. Your pinned events will also always show up in this drawer here. You can edit or create events on the calendar directly. Any event can be moved just by dragging it. Or if you want to copy, just hold down the Shift key. You can also move the item to a different month or a different category. You can link Google Docs to your project. Torch automatically applies the proper permissions to the document for the particular project. Before we move any further, I should explain users. There are two types of users, internal and external. Internal users are for you and everyone in your company. External users are for people outside of your company. Internal users automatically have access to all projects. External users only have access when you grant it to them in the Project Access section. External users also can't edit invoices, bids, see draft invoices or bids, don't see time, expenses, or budgets at all. And of course, external users can't be admins, so they don't have access to change any of the configuration settings. You can easily track time in Torch. You'll notice that some of the existing items have an option to look at the invoice. These are items that have been imported into an invoice. Existing time entries can be easily edited just like this. Expenses are similar to time. They're just things that you bought instead of time you spent on the project. Just like time, they can be imported into invoices, and Torch keeps track of which items have been imported. Let's create an invoice. It's really easy to import existing bid sections, categories of time, and categories of expenses. It should be noted that the amount of time entries is determined by the number of hours multiplied by the default hourly rate of the user. You can edit any section, and each section can have a tax rate applied to it. And you can add a section manually as well. Move the invoice to open and send it to your client. Sending the invoice will automatically give the client permission to this project. In fact, you can add the user right here. You can CC or BCC your email into Torch. Torch is smart enough to automatically attach it to the proper project based on the external users. reply to email notifications, and your reply will show up as a comment. Also, if you so desire, you can group conversations into a single message. Just check this box here. Now, when you have a bunch of emails that are all part of the same conversation, each follow-up email will show up as a new comment on the message instead of an entirely new message. You can also make sure that your budgets stay on track in Torch, or dig into how your users are spending their time. Using the data in the time and expenses section, Torch can determine how much has been spent on each project. Budget amounts are created when you accept a bid. However, you can also edit the budgets by just clicking this edit button here. In addition to the projects, you can also set up budgets for the categories. Torch has many more features, but this should point you in the right direction. Explore the help section, the additional videos, blog, knowledge base, but if you get stuck, head over to support.wbpsystems.com.